So thanks for joining me, everybody. This is the footage from the fourth round that I thought I'd lost, and I managed to find it, so I thought I'd put it on as a separate video. So this is the fourth round of Todber Winter League teams of 5, and we have drawn dreaded peg 4 again, as you've seen, which is without a doubt the worst peg in the section, or on the lake, if you like. Our initial game plan today is to cast that little maggot feeder right across and loose feed some maggots for some skimmers and an odd carp if we're lucky. Casting is a little bit awkward here due to a tree right over our head, and the trunk of that tree is sort of just behind us and to our sort of right shoulder. It's all a little bit awkward, to be fair, but it is what it is. Now we know the carp patrol the far bank because we've been on peg 4 on the first round and we've been on peg 3 the last 2 rounds, which is a good peg, to be fair. And then we're back on peg 4 again. Now we've got Dan Squires on 3, and he was on 4 last time and seen me catching him 3. And he's a very good angler as well anyway. So he's straight across, tight to the grass. He knows the score straight away. But we're not worried about him. It's a team match and we got to do what we can for the team. So we finally get off the mark with a skimmer. Just over those loose fed maggots, just a single maggot. And this is, I think, a number 6 elastic, 014 main line, 4B12 float, and 01 hook length. And that might sound really light. Well, it is fairly light, isn't it? But what I'd being cold like this now, I'd fancy me chances getting a carp out with that, taking me time. And we have to remember there's only the last 2 matches, second and third round. Dan was in here, Fred Roberts was in here, and they've only both had 1 carp apiece out of this peg, apart from a few skimmers. You know, it's proper tough. But we have the advantage of being in this area for the last 3 matches, so we know the carp. Trow tight to that bank. The skimmers are just something to catch early, really, before I feel like the carp are going to have a feed, because I know that dumping maggots, enough maggots in the peg can bring them fish in. Now, on that first round, as cold and hard as it was, I ended up dumping about a pint of maggots altogether in that deep water, and fish did come to it. So I know I can do that, and I'm hoping that might work for us today. And I also know those fish hug that far bank. As you can see there, Dan on peg 3 to the left, you can see he's just coming back with 1 now. So I know that. They haven't really pulled that feeder round. So I've got 17.5 metres. To me left, I can get about a metre and a half away from the bank. It's 3 foot of water. It's a little bit too much, but I still fancy that for a bite or two, to be honest. I've also got the same depth, 17.5 metres to me right across as well. But the bank kind of goes away from us, and that right hand line, we're probably closer to 3 metres away from the far bank. I'm not sure if we'll catch on that one. But we're getting 1 or 2 skimmers to start with. But they're not coming as easy and fast as they have been in the past. And I do wonder if they've dropped down a peg or 2, really. Steve Naden's catching a few down on peg 6. They were kind of balled up to the right, to the sort of where I am, fishing to the right in this peg. I don't feel like there's loads there. And they're getting smaller, aren't they? So I decided to leave the skimmer line alone for now and just go across and see if there is a carp there early on that 17.5 metre line. And I'm not going to feed a load of bait there because I want to encourage them in that deep water. And I think putting in a volume of bait, it did pull them last time. So as I say, fingers crossed. So the rig across is a 3B10 strung out rig, 3 foot of water, 016 main line, 012 hook length, size 12, Guru Kaizen. Nothing across, tried it for 20 minutes, so back on the skimmer line. The skimmer line just allows us to not hold 17.5 metres for a while. I've done that. 17.5 metres feels very heavy when you're not catching nothing on it. If you're getting a few bites or catching a few fish, things always seem a little bit lighter, a little bit easier, a little bit more pleasurable, don't they? So we decided to dump 200 ml of maggot on that skimmer line. I waited for another skimmer for like 10 minutes, didn't get one. I don't feel like there's loads there. I don't think they're weighing enough and coming fast enough to warrant messing about with, to be honest. So I've took the gamble. I've dumped 200 ml of maggot there, and I've gone straight back across on that long line again. So it's sort of how your game plan changes, isn't it? As you go along through the match, you read things and you make changes. We've hooked one across, which is great news. We are fishing quite light across. Now and then the wind gets up, and if the wind catches the pole, I don't want to pull out the fish. So it's just blue hydro, and exactly the same kit as I've got for carp down the middle. Down the middle we got 016 main line, slightly heavier float actually, 4B12, but 012 hook length, same hook, etc. again. That's a lovely simple match, really, isn't it? There's everything I've caught down here all the way through the series has been on a single maggot. A single maggot, red maggot on the hook, and we feed red maggots. You can't get any easier than that. That is quite a good stamp fish, isn't it? That's all right, that. That's the biggest fish I've seen on this lake all series. I thought sort of all the double figure fish is gone, but I'd say this one's definitely touching £10. Unfortunately, I think he's hooked just outside the mouth, sort of on the cheek, so it's going to be really hard to try and get his head up. But I really would like to land him. Yeah, I think he went for the bait. He just turned his head as I struck, didn't he? Just cannot get his head up. He's giving me a right run around, didn't he? A great sign though, isn't it? We've had two carp um, from a peg that's, let's remember, sort of only yields one fish. Normally, we've had a couple, and now we've got this big fish on. If we can land this, that'd be mega, really. The amount I'm playing him, maybe £8, wasn't he, Tom? I've won. It'd have lost £2. I can see him in the clear water, and it is still very clear, isn't it? If you look down at my keep net there, you can see it. And it's cold, surprisingly cold. The picture might not tell you how cold it is, but I've got my little heater there on the side. It is, yeah, it's proper cold. I remember this is back in February. I've only just found the footage, as I've said, so we've only just released a video, but yeah, it's February. It's come on. I've had this on for about 5 minutes now, but the time would be worth it if we can land him. So it's so clear. I can see the fish, but I think the fish can see me as well. That's the trouble. Just got a little bit impatient there, didn't we? At the end, I think really we should have landed that. Just should have took a few more seconds, maybe another minute, and he would have been ours, I think. But anyway, back across, and luckily there's still one or two there. Takes a while to get a bite, but what I have found is just relaying that rig in. As the rig settles, I think they see it in that clear water. Then one just comes away and has it. It is nice fishing though. So we've stepped up across now since that lost fish as well. Even though he was sort of hooked outside the mouth, I still felt that there's enough fish there to warrant going up to white hydro now. Same hook length, and that just gives me that little bit more control at our feet. And the wind hasn't got up that bad, has it? So We fished with a good bunch of lads down there. We were very lucky, really. Got a really nice section of lads. So I've had a right laugh throughout the series with them, really. And Roy Worth, anybody who haven't met him, honestly, he's absolutely hilarious. Got Nicky Ewers down here as well, top lad. Dan, lots and lots of top lads on this section. Oh, I think my netting was obviously been affected by the loss of that last fish. He's a good stamp though, isn't he? So we try over our dump maggot line then. I'm just about to give up on it, to be honest. And the float goes. We probably sat over that for a good sort of 6, 7 minutes. Not a touch, not a line or nothing, but then the float just goes. So lovely. Really pleased to see that. To have two lines now to be able to work that's all you want really in most matches. I'd go as far as saying any match, that's what you want when you're commercial carp fishing is two lines of attack. Lovely. Both being fed very differently, but brilliant if I can flip between the two lines and keep an odd fish coming. Yeah, the across line we were literally just sort of cab potting a few maggots. Cab pot a few maggots, as I say, and then just sort of laying that light rig down through it. And they're a better stamp than what we caught in sort of peg 3, aren't they? When we won the match the last round, a lot of smaller fish, a lot of sort of 1.5 to 3 pound fish. I'd say 3 pound is a small fish for us today. So very pleased with how it's going so far, to be honest, with this peg four. And we have to remember what we learned about the dump maggots previously, um, and how the peg is fished for others as well. And I think sometimes you can just fish it a little bit too negatively. And I've had this before with the dump maggot thing. I can't remember the first time I ever used it, but I've done it before in the past when it's really really cold, and you don't think anything really wants to feed. I mean, you know, it's a bit of a throwaway line, of course, but if you dump maggots in that deepest water, I don't know what it is. I don't know whether they go into the silt and whatever. I don't know, but it for some reason, I mean, they don't particularly smell that much, do they, maggots? Although to carp, it may well be like a curry to somebody coming out the pub. Who knows? But yeah, for some reason they love it. I've done it before. I've like dumped 500 mil or something like that. You know, a couple of big cups in the deep water, and it might not come good for an hour, but you can go over it for an hour, and all of a sudden it's solid. Something worth remembering. But that across and that cab potted maggot is working for us as well, isn't it? So I don't think I'm going to spoil any surprises when I say the results are out, obviously, for this. And I will say Steve in the last match, the match after this one, has this peg, and again he catches one carp. You know, so and it's just the little things. I don't go. I don't think, oh wow, I'm better than all of them. I just think that I learned a few little things because we've been in this little area, this little pocket of the lake, if you like. You know, for three matches before, and I think you just pick things up and knowing I got to get close as I can to that far bank, and knowing the only way I'm going to catch carp in the deep water is dump maggots, and it's just little things, isn't it? The fish across are definitely watching that slow drop of the maggot. Totally different sort of fishing on that line, really. Down the middle isn't particularly deep. I'd say down that middle we got about 4.5 foot, I reckon. And we drop back in on it and it's gone for whatever reason. That deep water, it hasn't come back again. That might be that we dumped those maggots really a little bit early in the match. Um, and I'm concerned now whether refeeding that line is going to bring it back or not. I may well have to start another one. I'm going to stick with it at the moment because I've refed it again, um, and we'll see. And everything we're catching on today and all through the series really has just been a single red maggot. And that's all we got on the side trays, red maggots. It's just dead simple, isn't it? Just love matches that are that simple, to be honest. Set any complication. You don't sit wondering if you should be on a different bait and that. You just, just simplicity. Or too late, Roy. Don't worry about me. I'm only fishing for pride. There's no points here. There may be a bit of kidology there. Bit of kidology for Roy. That's lovely, isn't it? I just love this style of fishing. Nice, simple fishing. I could do with it being a bit shorter than it is, if I'm honest. I'm not getting any younger, but it is just, yeah, it's just lovely, isn't it? I absolutely love match fishing, especially if there's a few bites to be had in the winter. And that tree is becoming a real nuisance, isn't it? Because I'm fishing slightly off to my left in the peg, so when we naturally bring the pole straight back, which is what you want to try and do, just bring it straight back. We're sort of the wrong side of the tree, if you like. Sometimes I have to push the pole back forward a little bit to cleave the pole round to get it back on our rollers. But no complaining, catching fish. So those carp just never come back to that deep line again. So I replumb just off to the right, sort of to the realms of the edges of my peg, really. I can't go any further than that. It wouldn't be right to go any further than I'm going. So I put 200 ml of maggot in there, and we're sort of starting a new line. And I'm going to refeed a few maggots back on the original line as well, just in case, because it's the same depth between the two lines. So it's nothing for me to drop the rig from one line to the next. If it was different depths, I wouldn't refeed that old line now. I wouldn't bother. I'd just stick with the new one. But it's the same depth, so it's easy to drop the rig from one to the other. So we feed that, and we went back across 7 or 8 minutes and nothing across now. So went onto the new line. Apologies, it's just out of shot, isn't it? The sort of tip of the pole, but and there we go. Just telling Dan the test will be if we can basically get another one. You know, if we drop back in on that line and it goes again, it's game on, isn't it? If it's just a one fish, then we might end up back across again. I don't want to. There's not long in the match left now. And I feel that time of day has come where it's cooled down that little bit, and I'm not so sure they want to be in that shallower water. Although we got 3 foot, I just across there because we can't get right in. I just feel they want to be in a little bit deeper water now, and that's a better stamp in the deeper water as well, isn't it? It's great. So I'd gone back in and it buried within about 30 seconds. Felt like there was competition in the peg, you know, the sort of when it settles and it goes that quick, you just think like you had to snaffle it quick before another fish did. Let's hope. Just got a glimpse of this one in this beautiful, it looked like one of those sort of half ghost, half common type fish. Really nice looking fish. Love ghost carp. Oh, lovely.